Our story begins on a cruise ship, where Gao Chenyu, the best student in school, confesses his feelings to Ellen, the school goddess. The entire crowd cheers for them, but amidst the excitement, an uninterested student named Qintian watches Master Talk's wilderness adventure vlogs. Suddenly, the weather takes a turn for the worse, and panic ensues as everyone rushes back to their cabins. Qintian ponders about someone mentioning the Titanic, but before he can react, it's too late to return to the cabins. He runs off in a different direction and attempts to grab a float, but the ship capsizes. Darkness envelops everything, and the wilderness system activates. Qintian finds himself washed up on the shore, realizing he has survived, but he can't see anyone else on the island. While there may be a rescue team on the way, he must endure and hold out until then. Exploring the area, Qintian discovers coconuts and is relieved that he can use the knife he bought after falling in love with Master Talk's vlogs. As he drinks coconut water, he recalls hearing a system while he was unconscious. Suddenly, the system presents him with a novice package, and he is surprised by the system window. He clicks on the package and acquires 2 books about common plants and animals. The knowledge from the books is absorbed into his mind, granting him unusual knowledge. He realizes that he can now see information about coconuts. Just as he contemplates this newfound ability, he hears a loud scream and realizes that someone else is on the island. Qintian rushes in the direction of the scream and discovers Ellen being attacked by a venomous snake. Ellen cries out for help, and Qintian quickly grabs the snake, slamming it against a tree. He instructs Ellen to cover herself, but she feels embarrassed that he didn't even look at her. They introduce themselves to each other, and Ellen is grateful to have found a companion from the shipwreck. Later, they consume coconuts and drink the water. Qintian asks if Ellen has a phone, but she reveals that all her belongings are gone. Nonetheless, Ellen remains optimistic that a rescue team will arrive soon. Qintian advises Ellen to prepare a fire to ward off insects and snakes. Ellen wonders how they can start a fire, and Qintian suggests searching for useful items on the beach. After an hour of searching, they find the beach unusually clean. While Qintian ponders their situation, Ellen discovers a plastic bottle and plans to discard it. Qintian stops her, recognizing its potential use. He gathers wood and grass, then utilizes the bottle filled with water as a makeshift magnifying glass to start a fire successfully. As night falls, Ellen expresses her concerns about starving to death while waiting for rescue. Qintian reassures her that rescue will arrive within a few days and that they have enough resources to survive for a week. He feels compelled to lie to calm Ellen's fears. Qintian then takes out the snake and begins butchering it. Ellen asks if it's their dinner, and Qintian confirms. Ellen swears that she'll not eat it, while eating Qintian enthusiastically declares its deliciousness, much to Ellen's attempt to ignore him. She eventually takes a stick of snake meat and eats it, finding it satisfying. Qintian is surprised when the system rewards him with points for lighting the bonfire. He realizes that only he can see the system, which resembles those in games. Seeing Ellen's worries, Qintian contemplates whether he should reveal the system to her. He fears that if people discover his connection to the system, he might be dissected or experimented on. Examining the system further, he discovers a points exchange store but finds that most items are expensive, and he doesn't have many points yet. He closes the exchange store and lies down on the ground, planning to gather stranded fish and shrimp to give their bodies nutrients. Noticing that Ellen is already asleep, Qintian plans to talk about it tomorrow. A few hours later, he awakens due to the cold weather and finds Ellen shivering. He wakes her up, relieved that she is alright. Ellen is startled and panics, but Qintian tries to explain. However, Ellen's misunderstandings cause her to shout in distress. Qintian turns around and instructs her to get closer to the fire to avoid freezing. Feeling the cold and numbness, Ellen reluctantly complies and moves closer to the fire. Qintian finds the temperature difference between day and night on the island strange. They only have thin clothes, despite cruising near the equator. Shivering, Qintian suggests that they hug each other to survive the night. Ellen disagrees, worried about getting close to a boy. However, when she sees Qintian shivering, she stands up and tells him to close his eyes. Confused, Qintian watches as Ellen undresses. She embarrassingly mentions scenes from movies, but Qintian explains that such situations require thick clothes. With their thin clothes, transferring body heat to each other would be sufficient. Qintian then wraps his arm around Ellen, and they both feel warmer. The next day, Ellen woke up to the sight of a beautiful daybreak. She noticed that it was low tide and Qintian quickly ran to search for stranded crabs and shrimps. Despite Ellen's struggle to catch crabs, they managed to acquire breakfast. Later, Qintian began preparing the crabs while Ellen wondered why he discarded the carapaces with meat. Qintian explained that eating crabs with their cold shells could cause stomach discomfort when grilled. He suggested building a refuge in the forest since the beach was colder at night and posed a risk. He also mentioned that the forest offered more resources. Before leaving for the forest, they needed water and a signal for help. They looked up at some coconuts, and Qintian removed his belt to fashion a makeshift rope. Using it to climb the tree, he told Ellen to stand clear as he plucked the coconuts. He was glad they found fresh coconuts with more water, which he poured into the bottle they had found. Qintian advised Ellen to discard the coconuts she was carrying, explaining that consuming too much coconut water could lead to vomiting and diarrhea. Leaving a signal for help on the beach, the two ventured into the forest. After a while, they took a break and replenished their liquids. Ellen asked Qintian why he kept observing small bushes along the way. Qintian explained that the snake they encountered the previous day usually lived in fresh water. Ellen got excited, realizing there might be fresh water nearby. She wondered how they could find it, and Qintian pointed out a path devoid of grass and branches. Ellen deduced that animals might have used the same path to access water, just as humans would. As they continued their journey, Ellen asked Qintian if he was someone who enjoyed outdoor activities. Qintian replied that he loved outdoor activities but lacked practical experience. Suddenly, they both heard a noise and Qintian quickly pulled Ellen to a safe spot. They discovered a freely flowing body of fresh water, and Ellen grew ecstatic. Qintian washed his face with the water, but when Ellen attempted to drink from it, he stopped her. They moved a little further and Ellen suggested seeking refuge on the riverbank. However, Qintian reminded her that wild animals would stumble upon them there. Eventually, they found a flat area, and Qintian instructed Ellen to collect large leaves and branches while he searched for wood to build a campfire and tent. Qintian found some dried wood and swiftly constructed a campfire. He remembered passing by some trees that could serve as tent poles, but he only had a knife. Recalling something, he went to the riverbank to find a rock, which he transformed into an axe. With the stone axe, he cut down a small tree and tied the cut saplings together. Returning to their refuge, Ellen greeted him with banana leaves she had found, mentioning a nearby banana field. Now equipped with the necessary materials, they began constructing their tent. Qintian planned to make a one-sided tent, sharpening a tree branch and securing it to the ground. Once he finished building the tent, Ellen seemed disappointed. Qintian explained that it was designed to expose the fire's warmth in their direction. Suddenly, the system rewarded him points for building a makeshift tent, and he laughed, amused by the system's response to his efforts. Now that they had a tent, their next problem was food. The seafood and coconuts were quite far from their current location. Qintian decided to visit the banana field Ellen had discovered. However, their new problem was jungle mosquitoes that could cause fever if bitten too much. Ellen asked for help, and Qintian attracted the mosquitoes with a whistle. He burned some leaves to smoke them out, improving their condition. Qintian suggested keeping watch for wild animals, but Ellen had already fallen asleep. He gently laid her down and decided to take the watch himself. During this time, he made some rope using tree bark, utilizing the available resources. Morning arrives, and Ellen wakes up feeling refreshed from her sleep. She notices the rope that Qintian had made and he jokingly threatens her, saying she'll have to do the night watch next. She apologizes and offers to take the night watch, but Qintian doesn't trust her, having seen how easily she falls asleep while sitting. He then asks about the location of the banana field, and she points him in the right direction. While on their way, Qintian notices some nearby bushes and discovers raspberries. Ellen tries one, but they are too sour, indicating they are not ripe yet. They eventually find the banana field, and Qintian ties a rope to a rock. He throws it at a banana stalk, intending to pull it down, but instead, the whole banana tree breaks and falls on Qintian. He manages to extract a banana and offers it to Ellen, but she refuses. He peels the banana and eats it himself, only to realize that it is hard and raw. Ellen suggests it might be inedible, and Qintian explains that wild bananas with large seeds are not suitable for consumption, as the tree hasn't undergone mutation. Qintian then suggests finding meat instead. Curious, Ellen asks what he means, and he shows her a banana leaf with a worm on it. He claims that the banana worm contains 6 times the protein content of buffalo meat. They return to their camp and decide to grill the worms, which they proceed to eat. Surprisingly, Ellen finds them more satisfying than the snake meat they had previously consumed. Later, Ellen discovers Qintian shaping the bottle differently. He explains that it's for catching fish, as he had seen some in the stream. He describes how the trap works, and the system awards him points for creating it. Ellen wonders what they can use now to drink water, and Qintian suggests using coconut shells. Ellen expresses concern that the shells may break when boiled, but Qintian suggests heating stones and placing them inside the shells instead. He plans to set the trap before heading to the seashore. They left the trap with banana worms in a shady area. Ellen suddenly smelled something and walked away, while Qintian found the smell familiar. Ellen discovered bushes of mint, and Qintian decided to gather some to repel mosquitoes at their camp. Ellen was surprised by this new knowledge and started collecting a bunch of mint. After obtaining a large quantity, They returned to their camp and sat down. Qin Tian told Ellen to take her time to rest, then he created a stone hammer and gained system points. He realized that he could earn more points by crafting survival tools. Ellen wondered why he was happy. Later, they discovered that the coconuts they had left on the seashore had been opened. Qin Tian noticed that the coconuts had been broken by a strong force not belonging to a human being. Ellen became scared, thinking it might be tigers, but Qin Tian confirmed that tigers do not eat coconuts. He noticed a trail and considered other coconut-eating creatures that might be present. Ellen remembered the coconut crabs and pointed out a small trail that a crab can leave. They followed the trail and discovered a coconut crab climbing another coconut tree. Ellen marveled at the massive claws of the crab. They prepared to catch it, but Ellen noticed that it had already come down. Qin Tian reassured her, explaining that it had nowhere to go. However, Ellen became frightened when she saw Qin Tian's expression. She couldn't believe that a coconut crab could crack open a coconut like a banana. Qin Tian menacingly approached the crab and grabbed the open coconut. The crab angrily opened another coconut, but Qin Tian managed to grab it again. The crab became furious, and Ellen realized Qin Tian's true motive. Qin Tian easily restrained the coconut crab. They later walked back, but Ellen requested a break. She mentioned that it was already the third day, and there were still no rescue teams. Qin Tian became worried, but Ellen reassured herself that it might take them a week instead. She resumed walking, and Qin Tian also felt concerned. And this is how the first part of this manhwa ends. Well, guys, if you liked this video and want a part 2, comment below with the word part 2.